Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan page that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this story. So we are going to be looking at Captain America number 328 from 1987. We still have Mike Zeck as the cover artist. And we get D-Man. Love the screen tones being used. Absolutely awesome. Mike Zeck is I wish he would do more of the interiors. Just not a lot of interior work, but boy, is there a lot of cover work. So all right, here we go. Captain America walks in, sees this guy lifting a ton. Like how it says 1 ton. So for those of you that don't know, a ton is 2,000 pounds. So he walks in and says, impressive. So, and so we get our double page splash here. The title of our story is The Hard Way. Well, it's not really a splash, but Mark Renwald is the writer. Mark Renwald has the most Captain America stories ever written. Paul Neary is the penciler with Vince Colletta as his inker. Paul Neary, who has passed away this year, is mostly known as an inker. So, all right. So we got. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. So he is in. It says here he's in Los Angeles. We've got the headquarters and training for the Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation. So it's like super powered wrestlers here. Captain America says these facilities are incredible. Not even Avengers Mansion has weight training equipment this elaborate. So here we have kind of like a modern gym, sort of, here with the guys running at the top here, people in there. So, excuse me, fella, I'm looking for Edward Gardner. His secretary told me to try down here. Oh, yeah? And so this lady comes in and says, you gotta be kidding. That getup, that's Captain America's outfit. He says, I know, I'm Captain America. Ha, sure, and I'm the Queen of England. So, alright. You're going to have to dream up an original name and costume if you hope to get yourself a merchandising deals. You can't rip off somebody as well known as Captain A. I am the real Captain America. You must think I'm a new, the Unlimited Wrestling Federation. You can't be him. You're too small to be him. So, come on, let's see who this Joker really is. And so, of course, we get action almost immediately right away. Captain America evades them. And so he jumps up and he's up there and then he falls on them and evades all these people. This guy's costume almost looks like Nomad. So Captain America kind of starts dispatching people. So he says, come on, fellas, I'm here to talk, not play around the rosy. And so everybody kind of piles in on him. And so, is this, looks familiar, but I don't know whether that's a DC hero or a Marvel. Is it Nuklon? He looks like somebody named Nuklon, but I don't know if that's a DC guy. So, all right, you guys break it up before somebody gets hurt. And so, he helps then these guys get off Captain America. So this guy says, are you with us? He's like, no, I am really Captain America, and I'm here on business. So he goes, all right, where'd you first meet Ben Grimm? He says, I met Ben when the Avengers and the Fantastic Four fought the Hulk in New York City, which is way back in Fantastic Four number 26, back in the days when Jack Kirby was still drawing the book. So, and he says, hey, this is the real McCoy. So these guys are like, that's the Captain America? And the other guy's like, that doesn't look like a living legend. And the other guy's like, hey, sorry to hassle you. So this guy goes, sorry, let's go someplace where we can hear ourselves talk. So they're going to go have a little private chat here. He says he was one of the Things, or Ben Grimm's best friends when Grimm used to be with that wrestling outfit, and he talked about Captain America all the time. And then his name is Demolition Dumphy. So Demolition Dumphy would be like his ring name, so they call him Demo. So he apologizes for his friends. He says, sorry, they're really nice guys. And Captain America's like, hey, no harm, no foul. So Demo says, what brings you around here, basically. He says, I'm looking for information about several men, one in particular, that I believe may have been unlimited class wrestlers. Bad eggs, or you wouldn't be interested in them, right? Say I can scrounge up a spare towel if you want to rinse off that sweat if those meatheads made you work out. And he goes, all right. Demo's quite a likable guy. I can see why him and Ben hit it off. Yes, the guys I'm looking for are bad eggs, all right. Say, Demo, if you don't mind my asking, how did you and your fellow wrestlers get so strong? So we're going to get a little bit of an origin here. So he was what they call another all-American redneck jock. After college, he thought he'd go to the pros, but none of the pros wanted him. He just wasn't that good. He continued training because he never knew if maybe he would have a chance to make it there. And there, a guy handed him a card offering him great physical power for a price. He says he took the deal and met with somebody that was called the Power Broker. Love the names. So the treatment was dangerous and it only worked on half the people. So, and they said he only had to pay if he died. How generous of them. So, he filled out a bunch of forms and he went into the treatment. It took 6 hours. And turns out that he was one of the half that it worked. So, he was much stronger, says 100 times stronger than he was. They gave him pills that were supposed to stabilize the side effects of the treatment, and they offered him employment opportunities so he could pay for the treatment. So he took the pills, but said no thanks to the job placement programs. He knew what he wanted to do, so he wanted to play football. Look at it, he punts the ball, but it breaks. He unfortunately became too strong to play football, so once he realized he couldn't play football, he went back to that broker and they told him about that UCWF. So he says about 75% of them all went through the power broker, but the other 25% are people like mutants that already had their powers. So Steve says he's intrigued by the power broker and asks if he knows how to get in touch with him. And so we get another recap here. He says that he's gone now. There was a scandal that nearly shut off that wrestling gizmo. The Thing did something to get the broker mad at him. He says he doesn't know why, but the broker sent word to all his clients in the wrestling business to fetch Ben and his lady friend and bring them to him. I think that's Spider Woman who's here, who's he's referring to. If they failed, he'd cut off the supply of the stabilizing drug. It seems the pills were quite addictive, and so it was cold turkey. Quitting cold turkey was agonizing. And he says it's what he had to do. So you can see him there. No way I was gonna rat on my pal Ben, even if it killed me. So, but he says it felt like he was dying, but he didn't die. He took him 2 weeks, but he ended up kicking the drugs out. The thing wrecked the power broker's laboratory, and the power broker has been gone since. Captain America asked if he could look at Gardner's file of the wrestler as an applicant. And he said probably he's real chummy with his secretary, so. And so, sometime later. So, none of the guys he was looking for were on file, so he thanks Demo for all his help. So he says that he knows there has to be a connection between the man he's looking for and the power broker. So his next step is to find the power broker. He asks if he can come along. He says he owes it to the broker for turning him and his friends into junkies. And Captain America asks if he doesn't have professional commitments. He says, I can get my manager to cancel them, no problem. And Captain America says, all right, you're on. I'll meet you here tonight at 10. Look for a blue van. He says, thanks, Cap. You won't regret this. See you then. So now we're back in Washington, D.C. So I do have a playlist with these Captain America. We're covering, or I'm going to be covering the events that lead to John Walker becoming the new Captain America. So, which is why I've been covering this. So, if you want to start from the beginning, like I said, I do have a playlist down there. I've also got John Byrne's entire run of Captain America, as well as Jack Kirby's second run of Captain America. So these guys say, thanks for bringing the tax returns. It appears that the Defense Department made a bit of an error awarding this guy almost $1 million in back pay dating back to 1945. And although Steve Rogers was not officially declared dead in 1945, he's certainly not serving his country as in an official capacity all these years. And so this guy says, but records say Rogers is Captain America. Surely his peacetime activities have served the country. And so, and he says, like he said before, he has not served in an official capacity, and that what the nearly $1 million worth of our taxpayers' hard-earned money has paid for Captain America's contribution to our nation as a mascot is not what is at issue. His tax return is. He thanks the gentlemen for their efforts and says a good day. So, and this guy goes, I have a terrible feeling that we have made Captain America's life a little more difficult. The other guy's like, hey, we're just doing our jobs. You hear that a lot. We're just doing our jobs. So Demolition comes in and he shaved off his mohawk. And he says, you know, it probably looked cool in wrestling, but he also made himself a superhero, which costume, which we had, by the way, saw in the cover. It's basically Wolverine meets Daredevil. Captain America says, hey, you know, we'll work together, but I'm not here to make you like a partner of some kind. Sure, he says, sure, I can dig that. But he needs some kind of disguise. So his identity's pretty well known in some circles. So he asks, what's the first move? He says he's checked with the West Coast Avengers, and the name of Dr. Carl Malice came up as someone who could do those experiments. So the two have now showed up, and you can see here it's basically a replica of Daredevil's costume. And so he says it is based on Daredevil. He's a big fan of them, but of course the mask is totally Wolverine. So and so he's gonna call himself the Demolition Man, or D-Man for short. So this was a well-known lab, but turns out it was abandoned. So just after that, they're done. So the next morning they're out having breakfast. D-Man thought it'd be more exciting, and Steve says, "If you want out, I understand." And D-Man, of course, says he's no quitter. So um, he asks if he can tell him a little bit about the guy that he's looking for, and so he tells him about the Super Patriot. We've covered this before, so feel free to check out the playlist. So I'm gonna skip the recap here. Captain America says that what bothers him the most is that he undermined his self confidence, and um, John Walker claims that he's lost his edge, but realizes after that fight with him, he may be right. Real quick here, look at how thick all this is, and then here, just a little bit, and then thick again. I love brushes. I use digital when I do, but I use my Apple Pencil. I use an iPad, and I use these things to just look like that, and I do the same thing, just thick little, thick little. It's just great with the pressure sensitivity. And so Demolition Man wonders if Captain America wants to find the power broker so that he can get uh, souped up too. So the two separate to go see, places where perhaps the power broker would look for talent in other people. And turns out that Demolition Man did find a place at a karate place. So Steve says, "Great, I'll give him a call right away." So the address was an ice cream parlor, and Steve says, "I'll leave my shield and uniform in case he's frisked." And D-Man says, "I'll give you a half hour. If not, then I'm coming in after you." So he orders a peanut butter and praline mint sundae. And the guy says, "With a cherry?" "No, with sprinkles." And he, of course, wonders what would happen if he actually did not know the password. So he says, "Go through this corridor." And so here he's being scanned, no weapons. They get his height, 6'2", 240 pounds, his respiration, his BPM, and so they don't recognize him. So he says that like I said, he asked why he's interested in the program, and he says he met a guy called the Super Patriots, and he says he got his strength from you. He wanted to check it out for himself. You heard of that guy? Have you heard of him? And the power broker says, "I will ask the questions if you don't mind, Mr. Stevens. And what would you do with superhuman strength if you had it?" And he says, "Make money or get famous like the Super Patriot did." And here you can see truth index, truth. So he's trying to determine how much truth he's using here. The guy says, "Tell him the truth or he'll be denied." He says, "Look, I want to find out more about the Super Patriot. He gave me a hard time, made me look like a chump. I want to get him back." So, "I'm sorry, Mr. Stevens, but we respect the confidentiality of all our clients. Are you a police officer?" "No." And then Captain America's like, "This is getting us nowhere." So he's going to try a direct approach. So he lunges at the man. Turns out it was like a dummy. And then these two guys come in. They're like his security. And so they're going to fight Captain America. But it's kind of funny, Captain America without his costume, so he's just in a suit. So he makes his getaway after they smash that wall. So So it's been 15 minutes, so he still has to wait. D-Man won't be there till for more. So he walks in and sees this room where someone's about to go through the procedure. And this is that doctor, that Carl Malice. Steve's like, you don't know how happy I am to see you. Why is he looking? Why has he got his eyes closed? He looks like Shazam. So they hit him with tranquilizers in the back, and Steve Rogers succumbs to them. Turns out it was that corporal from the army, I believe. Oh, no, that's a lieutenant. So it looks like they're involved with the U.S. Army because, of course, why wouldn't they? So they don't know yet that he's Captain America. So they're, you said, do you want him taken away? He's like, no. He had such extraordinary readings. He wants to try a few tests on him and help him get him ready into the treatment platform. So here comes D-Man again. It's funny how they mention Daredevil because of the color as option, but goodness gracious, how can they not? The Wolverine mask. So, all right, so it's been 30 minutes. So here comes D-Man, and he's not stopping. So this guy hits the alarm, and here comes the security people. So here they have Steve. And they're like, the biopsy already shows some primitive augmentative agent in his cells. They're gonna do the test on him, and she's like, but hasn't signed the releases. He's like, I'm not gonna get fired. Do it anyway. Suddenly comes the through the loudspeaker that the installation has been compromised, and they all have 10 minutes to evacuate, and this guy's like, not again. And so off they go, and leaving him there. And Steve's like, they left him into this machine. He can't get free. And then finally here comes D-Man, who helps Captain America get out. D-Man says it's that augmenter. It's the same type of machine that they used on him. So D-Man says, I don't know, but I can get you someone who does. And he grabbed the doctor. So wake up, you little twerp. And he says, what were you doing to me? Augmentation. He says, why? If you were left under long enough, your muscles would explode. Then you'd have augmented me partially. I'd have to finish it to make it permanent. He says, I can make him finish the process, and if he does something bad, I can squeeze him so hard his brains will squirt out. So Captain America thinks about what this would do for him. But he says, whatever happens, if I don't finish the treatment, Malice, any harmful effects, I truly can't say. No one's ever stopped at this point before. And so D-Man says, how about it, Captain America? Want to get souped up like me? Then you could keep obnoxious little whiners like Mally Boy here under wraps. And Captain America says, this looks so funny, holding the shield with the suit. Says, this is a very difficult decision, D-Man. My first impulse is to go for it. But my second is, if something's not broken, why fix it? So he decides that he will not go through the augmentation, and he's going to pass. So D-Man says he's going to check to make sure they didn't miss anything, and Steve just thinks, and he goes, I wonder if I made a bad decision not taking that. So now back to Washington, D.C. We got somebody talking here. It says, thank you for bringing this information to the commission, gentlemen. I think we are agreed he cannot be permitted to operate in this manner any longer. Send agents to bring Captain America in. And of course, continued. So, all right. This concludes our issue here. Captain America 328 by Mark Grenwald and Paul Neri and Vince Coletta. Um, like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.